I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the UFC right now and its current fighter pay? And just because you mentioned how hard it is to survive as a fighter.
Well, you know, even though I don't fight for the UFC anymore, Dana White could still crush me in a second. So.
In what way? What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, as far as my book and my radio show and everything else, you know, yeah, I don't think the pay's where it needs to be. You know, I don't think it's where it should be. You know, and you know that's unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, so but you know, I feel like everybody that gets into this sport, they know that the UFC that's the organization you're in. That's who you want to fight with. The UFC is the best. The UFC pays the best. Could they pay better? Sure. Yeah, they could.
What's the minimum you think a fighter should make for a fight?
They wouldn't go out of business if they paid the fighters a couple $1,000 more, you know? You know, but because, yeah, I mean, if you're fighting, you know, and you got to pay for your CAT scan, you got to pay for your medicals, everything else, you got to take at least 6 weeks off work, a month minimum, to train full-time for a fight in the UFC, and then you go in there and you get $7,000 and $7,000. I mean, that money's gone. You know, 20% for your coaches, 30% of taxes, probably 20% for your agent, 30% for taxes, at least 10% for your gym. That's 50% right there, right? I'm not a mathematician. But so take cut that in half.
Sure.
Take all your medicals out of that, and then take all the time you took off work. You know, and it's definitely.
Is it worth it? You feel like for that amount of money?
You know, actually, I've had my coach called me the other day. You know, he had a kid that phenomenal fighter, and. You know, he got accepted to a couple of law schools on scholarship. He wanted to be a fighter. You know, so he wanted to go to law school after college. And my coach actually called me to talk him out of it. You know, they say, hey, look, you know, it's don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm broke. I know I didn't invest and spend my money the best. You know, but. I'm not even close to the best, you know. Yeah, but you know, now I'm on my own. You know, once you're done with the UFC, you're on your own. You got to figure out how you're gonna pay rent and what you're gonna do. So it's hard to make a life out of MMA. Even the best fighters in the world, I think, probably only a handful of them have been able to actually pay for their life out of MMA, which obviously is what they committed their life to. You know, so you give I gave my life to fighting in MMA, you know, and you know now, luckily in my case, only thing faster in my hands is my mouth. So. You know, that seems to be working well for me these days with coaching and the radio show and everything else, you know, but, you know, it's don't get me wrong, you know, same thing as, you know, well, they get paid a little better, but same thing, you know, NBA, NFL, you know, it's a roll of the dice. If you want to be an athlete, you know, you're putting it all in. You got to put all your eggs in one basket. And if you drop the basket, well, you're fucked.
What are some changes you'd like to see in the UFC?
You know, well, personally, as far as the rules go, I'm a little bit of a purist with fighting, so I'd like to see head kicks in the ground.
Sure.
You know, I think you know, Pride got it right in the way that they would allow soccer kicks, but not elbows. You know, you got a guy in the cage, and all of a sudden you go. Next thing you know, the doctor comes in, they stop it, there's a little blood, and they go, oh, the fight's up. Well, that's not an exciting finish. You see Vanderlei Silva mount a guy, punch him, jump up in the air, stomp him on his head, and fucking win that way. That's fucking amazing, you know? Like put those in, you know, put head kicks in. Don't get me wrong, don't take elbows out. But I think soccer kicks and kicking on the ground is way doper than elbows.
Would you rather fight one 15-minute round or 3 5-minute rounds?
Honestly, I think that's an interesting question because I feel like as a purist, I would say yeah, 1 round. As a spectator and the energy level, you know, I would say, I mean, even if they went to 5 3s, I think that would be cool because it would be a higher paced fight.